Just God, we take a pause to give you thanks for our freedoms, to give you thanks for those willing to serve and those willing to be here. We all bring value to this space, and for that, Lord, we give you thanks. We ask now that you put a spirit of peace over everyone in this room, that you show those who have stepped up to serve, whether they are paid or whether they are unpaid, that they are valuable to this space. God, we ask safety over our citizens and those who protect and serve. We ask discernment over this council and those that lead it, and discernment over those who lead all of the departments of this town. God, we thank you for everything we have, and we ask now that you be with us all. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Okay, council, you should have your reading packet material in front of you. So we'll step over to item number 5, and I understand there's no public comments? Very well. So let's move along to item number 6, consent agenda. Council, you've had a chance to look at this. Are there any items you wish to remove from the consent agenda? If not, can I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a second. Those signify by raising their right hand saying yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. New business. Okay, we have presentation by Vedic Talisha Gossens. Will you please come forward?
All right, thank you so much for having us here today. We'll go ahead and get started. So Vedic, our office is currently located in the downtown Valdese Main Street area there in the Old Rock School. We used to reside here at Town Hall, but have since moved over to Vedic last year, so we're loving our new space. We have a staff of 3. Carrie's our director. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here this afternoon. And then we have Eddie, who's here with me today, and then myself. I'm the loan officer with the organization. So you may be asking what Vedic actually is. So we were created a little over 10 years ago. We work with small businesses in the North Carolina economy to partner with them and the entrepreneurs to help them realize their dreams of providing access to capital and trusted guidance for either startups or current businesses that are needing additional funding. I'll take over Carrie's part about kind of discussing how we've impacted the economy here in the North Carolina. So total to date, Vedic has produced over $10 million, 210 loans to small businesses in North Carolina. A big piece is we strive to retain and create jobs in the local small business market. So here in Burke County alone, we've created or retained 870 jobs. You'll see some of the other counties that we've been able to assist in. Most recently, we've did quite a bit in the Mitchell area, so bringing that total to over 1,100 jobs that we've created or retained through our program. And with small business being a little bit of a higher risk area, we're very proud that our default rate has stayed low at 3.8%. So we really strive to partner with the small businesses and see them succeed with additional resources, not just getting them access to funding, but really partner with them in the after of the loan to ensure that their success and they've got access to the partnerships they need. Since inception, we've only had a loan loss of $152,000 and change out of the $10 million in loans that we've created and generated. We were awarded one particular grant, the Burke County Golden Leaf. That original loan fund was a $250,000 loan fund. Since that has resolved, and the total loan fund is now up to $919,000. So we've been able to regenerate that back out to additional funds with our success in the low default rate. The particular fund of just the Valdese Rural Center Revolving Fund, that was an original grant from the Rural Center of $125,000. That is particularly for Valdese businesses. That has revolved to over $492,000. We do also focus on minority lending, whether that be female or different ethnicities, veterans, et cetera. You'll see our minority lending is at about 51%. So that totals to about a little over $6 million. Another fund that we receive is the Appalachian Regional Commission Grand Revolving Loan Fund, $500,000 in ARC grants that we've received funding for. Total, we've lent out $355,000 of that. A portion of that we were just awarded just a few months ago, so we're very excited to get additional funding back into the community with that. Our current portfolio, we stand at 61 loans on our books. Just our 3 staff members, we service all those loans and all those business owners. Right now, we have an outstanding loan amount balance of $3.1 million, with the original loan amount of $3.7. So I'll pass it over to Eddie for a little bit more additional information.
And I'm the one responsible for working with those 61 loans after they're made, and I provide 2 services. I do try to keep up with their payments to make sure they stay current. So usually I'm the first one in the organization to identify someone that may need help or be in distress. And of course, during COVID, we had many of those people, and some of the grant money that we had on hand during COVID, we made some emergency loans to some folks that were in the middle of working with their banks or trying to get grants from the government to help support their business. In that meantime, we made some emergency loans with the understanding that when they received the grant money, they would immediately pay us off. So we could do that quickly and didn't have to go through underwriting or collateral approval or things we would normally do. So that was a real big assistance for a lot of our loan portfolio. I would think nearly half of our loan folks took advantage of that program, and we recovered all that emergency money that we had. So I point that out just to make sure of the uniqueness of what we do, unlike a bank or a normal lender. And I don't think we've mentioned necessarily where we get our money is we borrow it from the government, mostly from the USDA, and we borrow it at 1% and relend it. So we have a good access to capital to loan, but yet we are responsible to pay them back. And we have a 30-year payback where a lot of our loans are 5 to 7 to 10-year payback. So that helps us work with a client that maybe can't make a payment. And that's sort of my role too. If they say, hey, I'm having trouble making my $500 a month payment, is there something you can do? Well, I'll take a recommendation to the board with a plan from that business, and they may say, we're going to do some new advertising, we're going to open a new market, we're going to do some things with this save money, and that will help grow our business. So I'll present that to our board, and the board will either approve or not, and it may be that they make no payment for 6 months. So it saves them some cash flow for 6 months and allows them to get, reformat their business a little bit. So and that's what we do. And banks don't do that. So the other thing to point out really is that most of our people that we borrow wander near a 600 credit score. So we're loaning money to a very at-risk group that can't get funding anywhere else. Because one priority is that we don't compete with banks, we require candidates to get a turn down from a bank when they do a business loan. So we purposely don't want to compete with our local banks. Matter of fact, of course, Carrie, I think Talisha worked for First Citizens too at a time. So, we get a lot of referrals from our banks, and that's really important to our success. So that's a little of the things that that I do, and that we all do now, because we all sort of work as a team. And I'm a part-time person, so but I do have some experience in working in the small business areas. I'm not sure, is this mine too? Okay. We're a little thrown because we have one, our leader is missing. So our service areas are generally all rural counties. If you're in a population of over 50,000, according to the USDA, we aren't able to make loans in that area. So Hickory area downtown sometimes is restrictive. But rural areas, most of our areas in our close area is not. And you can see the counties that we've generally done most of our business in really has been our adjoining counties, Burke, Caldwell, and Catawba. Iredell, a couple of loans. McDowell, we do probably, there may be our third or fourth. McDowell has a really strong Main Street community in Marion. and they run programs, and they do some, they refer lots of folks to us. And of course, their downtown went through sort of a renaissance about 5 or 6 years ago, and a lot was changed. That's calmed down now, and now we are working in the Spruce Pine and Bakersville area in Mitchell. And that's due to our relationship with the small business centers across the state. We do presentations with them regularly. And the reason we use that entity, because they work in their local communities, so they know people like we know in Burke County. So it takes some of the risk off our table if someone that counseling a small business refers them to us. We'll say, well, they have another set of eyes. It's not just somebody off the wall saying, hey, I need money. We know they've worked with a counselor. So that really helps us feel more comfortable when we present a loan to our board that they are local, they are who they are, and things are upright. We can do that locally because our board's made up of most all the municipalities in Burke County, and we have good representation. So in the small towns in Burke County, people know everybody. There's no hiding. So if somebody applies for a loan and we present a loan and they're local, somebody's going to know something. Whether it's right or wrong, they're going to know something. So it really helps us. That all helps us be successful with these lower risk loans because there are lots of people that know who they are and the type of business they're doing. You want me to do the pre-act? Or you? Okay. So during COVID, that changed a lot of what we did. We were in town hall for a long time, and we would have people come in and manually fill out an application for a loan, which was pretty traditional at the time because that's what people did. But when COVID hit, we had to figure out a way to do that without being in front of people. So we developed an online application, and all our paperwork went to online. And we also began to do a two-step. Instead of a full application, we did a pre-application, which sort of graded our clients a little bit. And that's generally where I would get involved. And the pre-app only got a skiffing of information, not a lot. So that would help me get engaged with the client for a few weeks, trying to get them in line before I turned them over for a full loan application, either to Talisha or to Carrie. So my job was sort of a filtering to make sure they knew their business. I would review their resumes. I would kind of check to make sure it looked like a possibility that they could be successful. And then before we would even charge money for a credit report, we tried to preserve their money, not to just take their money for a credit report and say, hey, you're not going to make it. So once they get through me, there's a chance that things could move forward. So that's generally what I do. And that's, and then I'll let Talisha cover the loan application and the process from there. But it's been very enjoyable working. I've worked with our VEDIC group in Valdese for probably 15 years now, on and off, with entrepreneurship and efforts. And all of this really started, people that were here remembered when the industry and everything went overseas. And I think there was almost 4,000 jobs that were working in the downtown Valdese area that just went away, like overnight almost, and it was decimating. And that's really what started. The grant for the STEP program came out of meetings and things that really kicked it all off. And it's quite impressive to see that we've rolled that money over, $125,000 to almost $1 million. And the Golden Leaf money is now tripled. And, a lot of people took that money as grant money. McDowell County was one. They took some of the money they got during that time and granted it to businesses. Well, once that grant's gone, you don't get it back. So we decided, and I give Jeff Morse a lot of credit. Rick McClure was on that committee. Someone from App State was there, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but they decided to do a loan fund and revolve it, and we managed it. And I think it's really worked well from my standpoint.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so once they kind of go through the preliminary pre-application with Eddie, and again, as Eddie mentioned, one of the big requirements is they must be declined by a bank in order to work with us. I mean, as a lot of you may know, it's really easy for a startup to get a decline from a bank. They do not want to lend to startups because it is extremely high risk. So between that and then as well as meeting with our small business centers, two of the main requirements to get started with us. This is kind of just a quick snippet of what the pre-application website looks like. We do loans up to $250,000. So again, that's kind of all discussed as the client's working with Eddie. And then Eddie assists on the backside with the technical assistance, as he mentioned. So once we get the client's credit pulled and they do meet that credit worthiness of a minimum of a 600 credit score, we do look, in addition to just that FICO score, of what their history has been like, whether there's any blemishes, are they explainable, what's their payment pattern been, and then as well as what kind of current obligations that they have. From there, we begin processing a loan. We have a face-to-face meeting with them. You can usually tell pretty quick with someone if they have the grit to get started with the dreams and the nightmares of owning a small business. You can tell if they really have it if you really sit down and have an in-depth conversation with them about what their dreams are and what they hope to succeed. Documentation really varies based on each request, what it is, what kind of collateral, if they have any, what their plan is. If they have been in business before, it all just adds to the overall picture and putting the puzzle together of how the borrower is going to succeed. We do have a loan review committee that meets every month where the notes for that month are considered. And again, that committee is made up of members of the municipalities that are in our community. We've got retired bankers, other nonprofits, other managers, leaders in our community. So we present the loans that have come before us that month, and from there, the loan review committee makes a recommendation to our board of either approving the loan or potentially come back and having more in-depth conversations at a later point. From there, if the recommendation is to approve the loan, it proceeds to our board, and it is again reviewed with them. And as Eddie mentioned, a lot of members of our community, we have business owners in the Valdese community. Todd and Bo himself are usually present at most of our meetings. They're members of our board. So just a kind of an array of folks that really have some good small business experience that help guide us and make good discernment on whether we should approve the loans or not. Kind of a quick list of some of the contributors that we've had to help us in our journey. And then Eddie, did you want to go over those brief numbers? We've been very active in the town of Valdese since inception. We've been able to help a lot of businesses, building owners in the town, and he's going to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, and the 10 million number of our total loans, we've done 2.5 million plus in Valdese alone. And I think there was 800 and some jobs, and we have about 126 jobs in Valdese that we've created over about the 10 years that we've been here. So really, it's pretty close to home, and a lot of that is relationships, really. I mean, you know, we were located in Valdese. The town sponsored us, gave us free office space, created our charter, basically funded all of our Get Startup money, because we started very small. And but over time, I think we made maybe 5 loans to Grace Jeweler, small loans, but kept his business open. That was one of the first ones. We made a loan to the garage that's there down from the rock school. And I can't remember the gentleman's name right off. It was a while back. He sold that business, but we helped build the truck service part. We funded that construction there. And the old mill project where Clark Irvin bought that building. We played a small part in helping make that happen and funded a part of that project. Matter of fact, they're still paying a loan off that we made because it was a 10-year loan, I think. And Clark Jr. now is paying that loan. But we helped with 100 Main when it became a restaurant. We made a loan to the original folks there. Matter of fact, I think the buildings that you have now, we've made a loan to a renter there. Typically, what I've seen when we make a loan to a small business, when they're going into a space, some of that is a motivation for the landlord to remodel the building or bring things up to speed. Sometimes electric might need or plumbing. And the Levy Brewery was one that we were involved with, not his original opening, but the second time. And helped put a kitchen in there, which helped him sell it. And now the Mill Restaurant is very nice in their marketing. So we kind of help. We feel part of our loan helps with that, but the other part is we help development of the buildings and raise property tax values, which helps in another way. So we play a little part in all of that. But Valdese and Burke County are really our two places that we do most of our work because we know people and people know that we exist. We do not advertise really very broadly, so we're not looking to grow and be any larger than we are. We like our hometowns, so we hope to keep concentrating in this area. And we so really appreciate, and from the beginning, I know the commitment that Valdese has made to us, and it's a big deal. I mean, you're not a big town, but you make a lot of difference, and we try to carry that forward and make a lot of difference for you guys too. So we really appreciate it, all you've done for us.
Thank you. Thank you. Council, do you have any questions of me?
Mr. Mayor, I've been on the VDEC committee for 2 years now, going on 2 years. And Eddie and Talisha and Carrie, all are very professional, do a great job. When we have a board meeting, they present information to us that is pertinent, and we have to act as a board to do that. But I would like to thank them for the job that they do. And, you know, Eddie, I was thinking about the funeral home that the loan was given to in Bakersville. Is that correct? So, you know, we go as far as Bakersville for loans, and I think that's good. Eddie and Talisha and Carrie, thank you for what you do for Valdese and for VDEC.
I'd like to echo that. I just want to say, you know, not being from Valdese, you being here today, I appreciate you being here to educate myself and the rest of, you know, the residents from Valdese, because a lot of people don't know what VDEC is. And, you know, without you, a lot of businesses couldn't get loans. And so being a private business owner myself, you know, there's not a lot of opportunity out there. And so we appreciate all the time and effort that you put into your presentation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again. Okay, moving along. Item 7B, State of the Department, Police Department, Chief Sharp.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see. There it is. Thank you. Okay, firstly, I would like to introduce one of our new officers. Come up here, Jonathan. Today was Officer Jason Cesana's last day with the department. We lost him, and I'll talk about that shortly. But we did have a reserve officer in training who is now coming on full-time with us, and this is Officer Jonathan Culp. I'd like to welcome him to the town of Valdese.
You're here.
Discuss the state of the department. I thought we'd go back, and this month is actually my anniversary. I've been here 24 months, and some things that I was asked to work on and repair and try to bring to the forefront was to restore our police department. Currently, you look at the slide, this is our current staff. It's the way that our department is laid out. And if you look at Officer 311, he left us today, and 325 moved into his spot. So we lost another reserve officer, and that goes hand in hand. We've lost 2 officers in the last 24 months since I've been here, and both of those were immediately replaced, luckily, by a reserve officer in waiting to go into that position. Some of the things that were looked at when I came on was morale and retention, and one of the things I saw right away was the department was kind of beaten down. We wanted to get that built up. We wanted to change some things. Salary was not the only issue at that time, although it was one of the most significant. And what I addressed internally, and continues to be a work in progress, was our image, the equipment we used, our uniforms, the training that was very much lacking. Policies needed to be redone. Officer wellness, their confidence, their responsibilities, as well as their accountability. And all those things are things we've been working on. First thing we did was we redesigned the patch. The patch was redesigned by the officers with their input, and we gave ourselves a new image so that we could be seen and it could be something that everyone could be proud of. So the patch is very visible. I think it represents the town of Valdese very well, and you see it on our departmental tent and some of the things that we put up during festivals, parades, and things of that nature. The challenge program coin, or the challenge coin program, is something all of our officers carry. They carry it on their uniform, and we invited the public to carry them. I think all the council members have them. And it's a symbol of the things we stand for, basically. Our core values that we stand for. And officers can be challenged, and you as a citizen can even buy a coin or carry a coin and challenge our officers to ensure that they are sticking to those core values that we stand for. There's a picture of the coin, and again, some of the core values are there. Again, trying to promote morale, trying to make people want to work in Valdese at our PD. The next thing we did was we put together new uniforms. Now, this was done at no cost to, or no additional cost to the department, because we switched over with our standard uniform order. When it became time to go get uniforms, we changed over to a uniform that was designed to be comfortable and designed to take some weight off of the officer's waistline. Carrying the guns, the tasers, and all that equipment on one belt causes back problems. It's been proven with multiple studies to cause officers to have back issues, to miss work, and that type of thing. So we not only done it for the image, but we done it to have healthy officers who didn't miss work due to back issues and things of that nature. That was done, the leather gear, and let me back up. I think this is important because it's something I want everybody to understand. The challenge coins were purchased by your chief out of his own pocket to start the program. I purchased those, and we began selling them and replacing that money so that we could keep the program going. The leather gear for the uniform change was purchased by a public donation. We had a citizen come in who said, "You can't wear those nice new uniforms and not have new leather gear. That would be ridiculous." So they donated money out of their pocket to get all the officers new leather gear. The next thing we did was looking at our weapon systems and things that we utilize out there every day in our job. Patrol rifles and handguns. The patrol rifles being used when I got here were Vietnam era hand-me-downs. They had been through the military in Vietnam, and then they had come through military surplus and been at 3 departments before showing up here. And that's what our officers were carrying in their patrol cars. Again, through public donation, we obtained new patrol rifles and new handguns. Not only did we obtain those tools, we put optics on them. And optics is something that improves your sight pattern almost immediately when you're in a deadly force situation. and it creates a safer environment for both the officer and the citizen because you're more likely to hit your target. So upon doing that, and we did training with it, and I'm going to talk about that some more in a moment, but just showing you some of the things we've done. That again was done by a private citizen who donated money to improve some of our capabilities. Next, we striped the new cars to go with our new image. The cars became more reflective, more visible. They have the patch on them. It's a brand. It's the Valdese Police Department. We're trying to sell that image. The officers like it, the citizens like it, and guess what? It was done by public donation. So, officers, we were losing them. I think what I was told when I got here is they had lost 52 in a 5-year period. We've lost 2 in the 24 months I've been here, and I know 1 is probably getting ready to leave as we speak, so I may be losing another one. Some of the things that we've done to try to hold on to officers is create some job enrichment. So job enrichment was getting people to instruct, like train-the-trainer programs. So we had Sergeant Beck, who went and became a firearms instructor. It's something that he's passionate about. It gave him something to expand his capabilities, and it provided him some job enrichment, some input, and helps him hold others to be accountable. It also improves his confidence. Upon obtaining that firearms instruction, he is now certifying and qualifying our police department in their qualifications every year, both with the handgun, the patrol rifles, and the shotgun. Our scores are the highest overall scores that have ever been within the department across the board. And that's because of the training. It's also because of the equipment, but it's because of the effort and stuff that took place as well. It saves officers' lives, and it will make your citizens safer, and it's going to save the town and the department money in the long run through civil liability issues, because we've raised the standard and we're meeting a new standard. It also has improved departmental morale, because when we go to this training, the firearms training, the pepper spray research, the taser research, the driver's training, we go to these training sessions, and at night we have dinner on the range together, we bond. During the downtime, in between night and day qualification, the officers get to spend time together, grow together, and they're proud of their accomplishments and their improvements. Next, I found out that it's the only department I'd ever been in my career, that the whole department wasn't CPR trained. Some of our officers weren't CPR trained. So many times, who's your first emergency responder at a call? The police officer. We're not racing. I'm not racing the fire department or EMTs to get there, but if we are the first there, we should certainly be able to perform CPR. So we got an instructor to train our department in CPR. Now all of our officers are trained in CPR, in basic first aid. They've also attended tactical casualty care. That's so that they can perform medical situations on each other should one of them be hurt in the line of duty. In addition, we added Narcan training for the officers that they had not had. And all of that is part of our annual in-service training now, at least every 2 years. In addition to getting that CPR training, it's good because if we get there first, and we've started CPR, when Chief Truman or some of his firefighters arrive, it's a team effort where we can work together to possibly save that citizen's life. And since we've obtained that training, I can think of 6 instances, I think, where our officers have already performed CPR. And before that, that wouldn't have been done. If we would have been waiting on the EMT or the firefighter to get there to perform that. So that's something that has also been fixed and worked on. We have an additional general instructor that has went and got his general instructor certification. And you think, well, why is that important? Why is it important to have a general instructor certification? When I got here, we had none. Where do we recruit our police officers from? BLET. So basic law enforcement training is where you're going to meet those officers, recruit them, show them that you know what you're doing. We should have had instructors in BLET to recruit future officers. We want to be part of that process. We want to be visible. We want to show Valdese is a place to come. Your officers are in training. They're providing training. They know what they're doing. And that would be a quality place to go work. So we have William Beck, who's working with firearms in BLET now. We have Sergeant Angley, who's working in BLET. You have the chief who's been in BLET for 30 years, but we're starting to bring forth some additional officers to take part of that program, and we've partnered with Western Piedmont Community College to make Valdese PD more visible and be that it's known it's a quality place to work because there's people taking part in the yearly training of these new BLET officers. Again, shared experience, sell and promotion for the PD and the officers within it. If you look at this, it's just a list of all the training and response we've done in the last 24 months to improve our services for the city, the citizens of this town. To go get training, to be better trained, to know what you're doing provides you better services. And it also provides a healthy officer, a well-trained officer who can take care of the things he encounters out there day to day on the job. And it's just a list of some of the things we've accomplished in those 24 months. Some of the other job enrichment opportunities that have been created other than the firearms is Jason, who left today, had been designated to oversee our fleet maintenance and new car design with striping. He had been almost single-handedly responsible for a lot of that. Even though we preached team, and team effort, he put forth a lot of his own time to create that for the department. And he helped with day-to-day maintenance, getting tires replaced, oil changes, all those other daily activities related to keeping our fleet running. Another sergeant has taken on our social media manager and takes care of the department's Facebook page and works as is being trained to be our PIO, Public Information Officer. That's so that we can connect with the public on important police matters and stay very transparent in the things that we are able to. And there's a couple examples of some of our postings there. Snowy roads, monthly statistics, and the other thing was an update on the skeletal remains. Next, we created a chaplains program, and we got 7 7 chaplains from various denominations, and we brought them all together under one roof, and I was told that was crazy, but you wouldn't believe how well it's working out. They all get along, and they're there to promote wellness for our officers. The officers have someone to speak with, they talk with them, and this is certainly in addition to EAP that HR provides, but they have a friend that may come and drop in and ride along with them, may take them to lunch, has participated in creating debriefs. If I have an officer involved in a critical incident, I ensure that we have a debrief that's created, and the chaplains are also part of that. They also provide spiritual wellness and guidance if it's requested by the officers, because we all know a police job is a stressful one. It creates some things like, I care because I have input, someone's listening and someone cares. I'm working at being a better overall person. The work I put into myself will provide a higher quality employee to the town, our department, and the citizens, as well as present a new member to my family. One of the things that we did immediately when they came in is your chief bought every officer here one of these books. Another thing where that came out of your chief's pocket, he went and bought them. Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement, the officers were given a copy, they read, and we went to devotionals that focused on this book. It's important because a typical civilian on average is exposed to 2 to 3 critical incidents and 3 to 4 traumatic events during a lifetime. Your police officers on an average are exposed to 178 critical incidents and 400 to 600 traumatic events during a career. That leaves scars on the mind, and over time they take their toll. So the chaplains are spending time with our officers to identify red flags and things of that nature, so that if they do need to speak with someone or to possibly get some help, they have an avenue with which to do it in addition to the EAP, because they may have someone they trust that they can talk to. From that, believe it or not, when we finished that book, a local pastor, retired Reverend Kevin Frederick, who's a doctor from Waldensian Presbyterian Church, wrote a series called Police Officers and Chaplains in the Mirror. Your Valdese police officers actually provided case studies for that book, and it's being used worldwide to help police officers all over the world. It's being read in foreign countries and in the United States, and we're currently using it for our devotional series as well. And that's a volunteer thing. It's something you can come to if you like. Continued efforts to improve. We've added some additional programs. And all these programs we've added, while they've added resources and equipment, they've also added new policies, new procedures, and additional training that we have accomplished. We added an ATV, again, through public donation. By getting that ATV on the ground, we utilize it for festivals and that type of thing. We also use it for searching the trails and things of that nature when we are called in to assist with locate a missing persons or something like that. And patrolling the parks and the trails and some of the wooded areas that we can go through around downtown. This gives us access to get to those areas quicker. I can't tell you how many times we used it at the festival last year for people who were overheating and elderly and just ran out of gas walking across town and couldn't get back to their car. Small things like that that you can do in a small town that are important to your citizens. The drone program, we have already presented that to you guys. couple presentations ago, but we've gotten 2 pilots that are certified. They fly the drone, and it was utilized this past week, again, when we conducted a search for a missing juvenile. And we were able to clear a park area much quicker and help the fire and rescue in their efforts to locate the person, as well as part of that big search that was being set up to conduct. That one of our officers that eventually found the guy walking in town, but he had been in the parks, and running that drone over it quickly with the FLIR and those type of things helped us clear that park very, very quickly and get it off the list of areas to be done. Our trespassing program, dealing with our unsheltered and some of our drug issues, we've created a trespassing program where we have put signs at various locations or problem areas, and we enforce the trespassing statutes by utilizing those signs and having our citizens and requesters sign up for that program to help us combat some of these issues. Lastly, community involvement with the outreach for children, and we did this through starting a Blue Santa program, Operation Blue Santa. The goal was to help 12 children in need at Christmas. We really got the public behind us, and we raised enough money that we helped 24 children this past Christmas. The great thing about that was every single officer was involved and contributed. There wasn't an officer in the department that didn't want to take part in this, did take part in it, and I think we made a Christmas much happier for 24 children who probably would not have had a Christmas without us. And my thanks not only to everyone involved in that, citizens, the council, everybody got behind that effort, and it was just a great thing. The churches, we all came together to accomplish something, and it was wonderful for everyone involved. Computer changes and things we've done to improve our efforts. We created what's called departmental forms. And believe it or not, I think there's like 140 forms that we use. Those forms were placed on a shared drive, and they're both printable and fillable PDF forms that the officers have at their fingertips that they can pull up and fill in a form, and it helps them do their job. Some of the forms are guidance for things to do on a death investigation, guidance for things to do on a missing person investigation, guidance to do on a sexual assault, all those things in the forms and the information that you should get and obtain to make them more efficient in their jobs. We've also produced a search warrant index where they can pull up search warrants that's been used in the past and adapt some of those for probable cause for the incident that they may be investigating at that time. There's a drug tax index and drug tax stats as well, among other things. We've improved some of our software as we've added TLO for investigative purposes and Quick Law so that they can have access to statutes immediately and read them to ensure that they are meeting the statutory requirements of the crime that they're enforcing. And here's the other thing that I think is really a big deal. The DA evidence portal was established and is in use. When I got here, most all departments in Burke County were using this portal. And what it is when you create a case file, you upload that case file, any video and audio evidence and photos into that case file, and you basically send it via the internet to the DA. So it cuts down on creating those paper files that are this big and hand delivering them, which no one does anymore, except Valdese, up until a couple months ago. And now we are all putting our evidence into a DA portal. We're putting our case files in there, and all the officers are utilizing it and starting to get their cases flowing like everybody else. Lastly, currently in work, our report writing system, and this is where we got a big break. Somehow we obtained the county's report writing system, and it didn't cost us anything. So it was a big, again, one of these mysterious donations that fall into our lap. The problem was the officers here, and when I talked to them, no one had ever been trained on it. They didn't even know how to use it. They didn't even realize all the capabilities it had. So I've obtained a manual for that, and we're currently putting together some training sessions so that, one, we use all the capabilities that the system has, and that they're all trained in it to do the report, attach the photos, attach the sketches, attach the various case attachments that exist in a criminal case, and get them to the DA's office more efficiently. So those are the things we have accomplished. And I'm proud of those. I'm very proud of them. I think the officers have worked very, very hard to accomplish those things, and I have pushed them very hard to accomplish those things. And the level of expectations day to day has certainly risen a great deal. What's hurting us? 3 things: salaries, facilities, and additional staff. The facilities has been an ongoing issue for some time, and we'll talk about that more here shortly. But I thought a good way to introduce all of this was to show you this short video.
Policeman. A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. Called statistics, wave the fan over stinkers, underscore instances of dishonesty and brutality because they are news. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact. And the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform. And that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted. A strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won, but if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer, but if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp or expect to be sued. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip 2 men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. A policeman must know everything and not tell. He must know where all of the sin is and not partake. The policeman from a single human hair must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and tell you where the criminal is hiding, but if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. If he gets promoted, he has political pull. If he doesn't, he's a dullard. The policeman must chase bum leads to a dead-end, stake out 10 nights to tag one witness who saw it happen but refuses to remember. He runs files and writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who will get dealed out by a shameless Seamus or an honorable who isn't honorable. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And of course he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.
Okay, I show you that one just to kind of reiterate to everyone what police officers go through. It's a tough job. I think everybody knows that. I don't think anybody doubts that. And the people that do it, it's a calling. They're there because they're called to do it. The thing about the stats with the salary that I think is important there is those stats are 10 years old. Currently, the stats in North Carolina, the low end is 49 to 5,500. That's the low end. Our starting currently is 42. The mid, which is the most common range, is 60 to 62, and the high end is 70 to 90. We've got to do something to maintain the expectations that I'm putting on these men and women, the requirements for their training, their education, and you want quality and experience on your roadways here, providing you security and safety in your town. And if we don't do something, we're never going to catch up. We're just not going to catch up. We continue to fall further and further behind. Over the past 23 to 24 months, you've seen some of the internal issues and the things this leadership has tackled and worked to improve on limited means. Those items have helped morale temporarily, but not completely. We've lost 2 officers in the last 8 months, which has been replaced with newly hired reserve officers that were hired to fill additional help needs. Both officers that left for more money. The latest went to a smaller police department, which is over half our size, under half our size, for an $11,000 pay increase, doing the same job in our own county. So he went to a smaller department to make $11,000 more a year and probably do less work. Can you blame him? Hats off to them. We invested 4 years in his training experience and replaced him with an officer right out of BLET. He didn't want to leave. His heart was here, but he went for the money. We can't compete with departments half our size. And I'll never forget this as his leader. He said, "Chief," because I'm sitting there talking to him, trying to get him to stay and convince him that we have a good place. "Chief, I can't eat on what ifs. I have a guarantee to go to." It's tough to deal with that. So I want you to pretend with me just for a moment. And if you will, I just want you to close your eyes and listen to my voice, because I want to tell you a story. Your child just became the victim of a sexual assault. Together, you respond to your town's makeshift police department. They have no interview room, an evidence room not to state mandated standards, no privacy for you and your child, and they have to sit and wait in an open area while they call in the chief or assistant chief who just left after being here 10 to 12 hours to provide guidance on your case and file a report, because the 2 officers that exist in their own duty are tied up on a vehicle accident and a DWI arrest. And that's all the help we have right now. The chief directs you to your child to the hospital and contacts a nurse to meet with you. While he is en route to meet with you as well, he is on the phone trying to locate a suspect and attempting to utilize neighboring agencies for help who are also busy. The suspect is located and the interview room has to be conducted in a borrowed location at a local church, while attempting to piece together some recording devices to meet standards for the interview because no interview room exists. I won't even take the time to go into some of the evidence issues. Welcome to Valdese, and this is only one case example. Is that the response you want for you and your child? Now open your eyes. Simply put, we have to address and repair this, y'all. We've got to. We've got issues. Facilities are a must. However, we have to be able to pay the officers to put them in the facilities or a building's going to be empty. We've got to follow state mandates, recommendations, and statutory authority to conduct the day-to-day business within the police department. We've got to follow evidence procedures and guidelines. We've got to follow proper evidence handling and storage. We need refrigeration. We need things to get digital evidence. We need things to record and maintain victim, witness, and suspect audio, video recordings. We have officer safety issues in our current facility, which is Town Hall. This is a great facility, but it's not a police department. We have other staff safety issues here every day. She'll probably get embarrassed, but ask Jessica how it feels to deal with an intoxicated person at the front door of Town Hall. Ask our planner what it feels like for somebody to knock on his door and say, I'd like to turn myself in for a crime. Do you have some handcuffs? This staff shouldn't be exposed to those issues. And heaven forbid something happened to one of them. I couldn't live with myself. Police business needs to be conducted in a police department occupied by the police. Additional staff. We have 2 regular patrol officers on the street most of the time, 2 administrative staff, and 1 assistant to run day-to-day police operations. What you don't realize is that day-to-day police operations also includes handling evidence, conducting serious investigations, handling complaints, speaking to citizens, developing programs, writing policy, handling equipment needs, speaking with the media, and many other unnamed items. Other departments would have at least 1 full-time detective to handle the more serious cases that come in, which can't be handled by patrol. We currently rely on our chief and assistant chief. They have a person to handle the majority of the equipment needs, a person to schedule and maintain training. We're juggling all those hats, every one of them. Many, many, many hats. To help spread what needs to be done and meet expectations, you must be able to send officers for additional training. 1 officer gone from this department turns the entire department upside down. An officer out sick or injured turns things upside down and inside out. A smaller staff presents major scheduling issues, limits training opportunities, stunts employee growth, and greatly affects the ability to enforce laws, make arrests, and be available for emergencies, which puts the overall safety of our citizens in question and at risk. Events, festivals, concerts, car shows, parades, these are all fun times for the town, and we all love them. The police department's stretched thin. We want everyone to have a good time, but we also want to ensure your safety. We give you a quick example of the fireworks display on the 4th of July in 2024. Every officer we had was on duty. We were all patrolling the downtown area on Main Street and some of the back roads in teams of 2. And just before the fireworks display ended, I gave out a call to go to your traffic stations so that we could funnel out 20,000 plus people who were here watching fireworks. No sooner than I gave the command, we had a gentleman with a gun at a business. We had 2 car accidents occur. We had a 4-person fight in front of another business downtown, and officers had to quickly run back to those areas to provide enforcement. No one made it to the traffic stations. So we had a jam of traffic trying to get people out and not enough people to handle the amount of people we had in the town at that time and provide the services to provide your safety attending one of those events. So lastly, help us address the needs. We have salary issues. I've got to maintain experience and quality. We have to pay more. We're losing experience that we have trained to smaller agencies. We must have officers to put in the facilities. We need facilities. We are outdated and not keeping up with technology and evidence requirements to meet today's needs and mandates. The longer this goes, the further we get behind. In additional staff, we need to provide the needs requested and provided to our citizens while maintaining a healthy, well-trained police department. And we just can't do it with what we have. Rome wasn't built in a day. However, many of these needs are past due. I've only been here 24 months. And one thing I have noticed since I've been here is that we seem to play the blame game. We all point a finger of who didn't do this or who didn't do that or who hasn't done this or it should have been this person's fault or why didn't they handle it. We need to figure out a way to work together to address these needs and find solutions. The clock's ticking. The further behind and the costs continue to rise. Thank all of you. I know I got long-winded, but this is just for today. So thank you for listening.
Wow. Thanks, Chief. Comments?
Chief Sharp, as you've talked to us about the huge discrepancy in salaries that we're seeing, can you tell us how much money it costs us every time to retrain or train a new officer who then comes in? How much money are we spending training a new officer?
By the time that's all said and done, probably $100,000.
Wow,
That's one officer.
Yeah.
one officer.
By the time it's all said and done, think about the strain you put on the police department. We have one officer that leaves, we have a hole that needs to be filled. We're lucky. We're lucky in the last 2 hires that we've had somebody that could go right into that place. And Jonathan Culp isn't out of training yet. He's got 3 or 4 more weeks before he fills that slot. So we've got a hole in the department. So we got to move people around. It's a scheduling nightmare. And we got to fill a slot with somebody that we don't have. So the strain and the burden of handling our day-to-day activities, again, it adds more stress, it adds more responsibility to the people we have, and we don't have enough people already. So you lose that person, you have to pay overtime for somebody to come in and work in those spots and create and have coverage. Then you've got to get somebody trained and you start, again, nothing against the guys coming in, but they're not experienced. They're fresh, they're green, they're rookies, and we love them. I want to bring them in here and make something of them. But we just lost a guy that's been here for a number of years, stuck with us, wanted to be with us, and we couldn't pay him enough to keep him. And what's more embarrassing is I've got to look at Chief right now next door who smiles and says, I took one of your good ones. And I had nothing I could do to keep him. Nothing. So you got to start all over from the beginning and come all the way back through and get him trained and get him here and get him up. And as soon as he gets up to where he's comfortable, he starts looking at his paycheck and says, I can make more money elsewhere. I love you, but I've got a family to feed. And it makes it tough. It makes it really, really tough. I'm not saying we have to be the top paid department, but we've got to be able to compete. And we're not even competing. We're not competing with these small towns half our size. We're not even in the conversation. When you go to, and I've tried a couple different things, something I didn't mention. I've sponsored a couple people to go to rookie school. Handpicked them. They come in and said, will you sponsor me? And I didn't have a position open at that time, but I said, yeah, I hope you'll come back as a reserve. One of them recently graduated and we had a position open and he's like, I love you, but I'm not coming there. I can go over here and make twice as much money, Mark. I would be foolish to come there. So that should tell you a lot about what we're getting and how we're getting it. And I don't know if we would have gotten the ones we had we not been up involved in the rookie schools to recruit them. Had we just sat here on our laurels and waited for them to show up, no one's applying. And I'm not picking on him, but I think Chief Truman will tell you the same thing. He's got the same problems. He's had positions open forever.
Chief, I've had the opportunity to, since being elected, to work with you side by side here in this building. And I could not express or say even more that you are a man of integrity. You are epitome of service before self. And Valdese, it's great to have you. And that said, we're going to work on this. The council here has heard you. We're going to do our very best. The citizens are going to hear it, and we're going to do our very best. And that's all we can offer, but we're going to do something. This is no longer a do nothing.
Yeah. We've got to fix some of these things.
Yes,
we
we do.
have to. We have to. And I don't know how we do it, but we have to. Or you're going to have two people as a police department.
Chief, you mentioned three things. Those were facilities.
Those were salaries, facilities, and additional help. And you know, they all interact with one another. I can't put weight on one of them more than the other. Because if I don't have increased salaries, I've got nobody to put in a building. But we've got to have a building too.
How many officers do you need right now? Feel like that would?
I personally would like over a period of time to get a full-time detective and get 2 additional evening officers. That would create a situation where we could have a supervisor in training in the mid-shift as a corporal with another patrol officer, and that would keep you 4 officers in your town the majority of the time patrolling. It would also provide us the opportunity to send someone to training to get some of that additional training that has been missing for forever. To get them up to speed on the things that they need to be up to speed on, to provide you the services that you deserve.
I've said it before, and we can have anything we want in a town, but if our town does not have certain things as far as safety goes, we don't have anything to offer. And I apologize to our public, I mean, across the board, but it hits home for me because I'm from a law enforcement family, and it definitely hits a little harder when it comes to public safety in general, fire and police. Those two are. And I know our drinking water is very important, I get it. But there's some hard decisions we're gonna have to make as a town in the next couple of months. And I wanna encourage the council, I wanna encourage the ones in the audience, the ones listening, please share this in any of the state of the departments we have heard recently. Please share those, because people, they need to understand why we're having to make some of the decisions we're having to make right now, especially when it comes to our police, and what we've heard tonight. It's not gonna be easy decisions, but they do have to be made, so.
There's been a lot of analogies made in the discussion of some of these things, and I am so grateful that we have a citizen and some citizens that care enough about the department and the town to help us put icing on our cake or to make our new Cadillac look really good. But if you lift the hood, there's anything in there. And if you take off the icing, the cake's hardened and crumbled. There's just some things we need to address. And it's not any one person's fault. It's not anything that we can really point a finger at, other than it's just been neglected too long. It's been let go too long. And I didn't come here to not fix it. I'd be failing you if I did that. And I won't do that.
And we do appreciate you bringing these issues to our attention. It's stuff that we're aware of, obviously, more so now. Maybe we knew that there were issues, but it took, I think, courage on your part to come forward and speak with such candor to us about what your needs are. And I think we're listening, and we know, like Councilman Ward said, the next couple months, we've got to make some decisions. And we'll hear from the other chief, I'm sure, next time we meet. And we look forward to hearing that as well, and we will take it out of heart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Next on item 7C, Public Safety Floor Plan Presentation.
Yes, I know that every council member has had an opportunity to review the floor plans that was presented. There's copies in the agenda, there's also copies in my office, we've been through those. The floor plans that we have been designed with the help of both police and fire chiefs. I will say, I've built a police department, and I've built two fire departments in my former career. I will say that these two chiefs had a lot of not wants, but this is what we gotta have. Like, there wasn't, well, we need an extra big day room so we can have the 85-inch screen TV. It was, we need the shower so our guys can take the decontaminates off of their uniforms after we fight a fire. That's the things that we had conversations about when we was designing the building. Or a police chief, I really need a secure way to bring a wanted person into the police department without walking past, citizens in the lobby. Those are the conversations we had. So I will say I'm very thankful to the two chiefs. I think they had the best intentions when they was helping designing this. And then when we went to try to shrink it to get this footprint as small as possible, because we do realize the limitations of the budget. If you saw the rooms, some of the workspaces are 7 by 7 for the patrol officers or cubicles. Some of the offices are 8 by 10. I think that's the smallest you can actually make an office and put a desk in there. So they really work to get it down low. We're looking at doing a metal and split place block exterior. We haven't nailed that down yet. We're still looking at cost and material and stuff like that. But the full plan you have before you tonight is a very took a lot of work, got a lot of plans, we got a lot of man hours involved. We're in the process of getting poster boards made so we can keep them out in the lobby. If anybody wants to stop by and see them, it'll be available for the public. And we're gonna work with Marissa to get them on the town's webpage as well, so people can look at them. But our conversations we've had one-on-one, and as overall, I think everybody understands what we're working on and what we're working with, and we're ready to move forward if council has no objections.
Any questions? Thanks, Todd.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Okay, next, 7D, approval of acceptance of property donation, 101 Fat Avenue Northeast. David Anderson and Tom Kinney.
All right, good evening, council, mayor, attorney Swanson. I want to also quickly just give a word of thanks to Chief Sharp and his officers for helping keep everyone safe in the parks and the recreation world too. We can't offer a safe venue for your children to play in without having our police officers there. So, thank you. In your packet, you all had memos regarding the approval of acceptance of property donation for 101 Fat Avenue Northeast, which is a property directly across from Children's Park. I'm going to hand it over to Tom, and Tom will give you a little bit of information about this property. He's from Foothills Conservancy.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Tom Kenny with Foothills Conservancy. We're a regional land trust, a nonprofit land trust that serves this region, Western Piedmont and foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we have our office in Morganton. And I'm here tonight to propose or request that the town council approve acceptance of a property that we're offering by donation to the town across the road from Children's Park. Let's see, arrow, let me see. Okay, just a little bit about Foothills Conservancy. We may be familiar to some of you. We partnered with the Friends of Valdese Recreation and the town of Valdese to acquire the property and land on Lake Rhodes that is Lakeside Park today. Back in 2018 or 2019, we raised a lot of money, and of course, with the town as a partner owning the property and the Friends of Valdese Recreation, Valdese has an outstanding park that's an attraction for the region, and I'll even say the western part of the state. Also in 2019, the North Carolina State Parks authorized a new state trail in North Carolina known as the Wilderness Gateway Trail. And Valdese, thanks to the work of citizens and enthusiasts of public trails and new opportunities for our region, helped create the Wilderness Gateway State Trail with a loop into the town of Valdese community. So I'll try to keep the presentation brief, but let's get to the reason I'm here this evening. And how I've worked with David Anderson, the Parks Director. But back in 2022, we were in conversation with the town staff and Beth Hiley of Friends of Valdese Recreation, and I believe David was the park director then, to address an opportunity across from Children's Park, and that was a property on Fat Avenue in East Main Street, owned by Dennis Jashab and his wife, and they were interested to sell and liked the idea of selling to Foothills Conservancy for a Parks and Recreation purpose. So again, just the reason I'm here tonight, Foothills Conservancy has done all the work. We did all the property diligence. We secured a grant from the state of North Carolina, and we have purchased and owned this Michael Creek property since 2023. And we would now love to donate it to the town for ownership in addition to its Parks and Recreation Department. Just a little bit, some of you, well, I would trust all of you are very familiar with Children's Park, but across the street is a vacant land parcel area that continues down along Michael Creek with frontage on Fat Avenue and East Main. There is the creek passes under Highway 70 or Main Street with a large culvert that includes possibilities to serve as a public walkway to get safely from Children's Park to the other side. The park and the expansion provide a perfect opportunity for additional public trails, perhaps additional parking for Children's Park, and for outdoor recreation enjoyment by the citizens of Valdese and visitors to Valdese. And while I don't know all the data and the results, but I have to say, you know, whether you're in Valdese or Morganton or Burke County and McDowell County and Points Westford, there are countless billboards and a lot of promotion by the tourism development authorities to market our communities to new residents, retirees, to those seeking to invest and create new businesses and create new jobs in our communities. And trails and outdoor recreation are an important attribute that helps serve all those economic development goals. And so, yeah, the background, I think I explained that well. The Wilderness Gateway State Trail. The North Carolina General Assembly also created a trail funding program back in 2022, I believe, and it's called North Carolina Complete the Trails. It's money for land acquisition and facilities development for all of North Carolina's dozen or so state trails. We applied for a grant. We'll be able to reimburse our expenses with the grant awarded for the Michael Creek property, and we still have a little bit of funds left for any remaining property acquisition due diligence the town may like to conduct. But otherwise, we feel like we've done most of the work to make this as easy and seamless and efficient as possible. In context, so the Wilderness Gateway State Trail, a little hard to see on this map, but you see a green line that goes from Old Fort and Lake Lure, generally through southern McDowell County, through South Mountain State Park and Gamelands, and then it heads northeastward toward the town of Valdese. The loop, I believe, goes through Lakeside Park and McGalliard Creek, McGalliard Falls Park, and we're still in the process of trying to identify the best routes or opportunities to go through the town of Valdese, to make the trail convenient to downtown Valdese and restaurants and businesses, while also providing a pleasant outdoor trail experience. So Michael Creek is a possible corridor. It depends on the willingness and interest of a lot of private landowners. But this property, not only does it serve this Wilderness Gateway State Trail, but being next to Children's Park, it can provide dual benefits to the town. And I think I've probably mostly spoken about this, and I'll be glad to address any questions, and thank you for your consideration and support.
Thank you. All right, council, what's your thoughts as to a motion?
I move that we accept the property at 101 Fat Avenue Northeast from the Foothills Conservancy.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion?
I just have one question. Is the
Sure.
only thing that I see as far as a budget impact would be, what are we looking at as far as when it says the town would incur costs for park staff, mowing and maintaining the property after taking ownership?
So I had, Brett and Howard went out this morning just to double check it. Their estimate is it would take them about a half hour to mow it when they're already in the process of mowing Children's Park. Put that time into dollars, you're probably looking just shy of $500 annual during mowing season, really. So, yeah,
Just wanted to have that out there,
Sure.
so.
yeah, great question.
I didn't realize until I was down at the park Saturday that the under the road culvert or whatever was available for the walking, because that was my concern about trying to get from one side of 70 to the other.
Sure.
And so that's a neat feature if that can get worked out, and, you know, you can direct folks to use that.
Mhm.
That's kind of a cool thing to have.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, we've had a motion, we've had a second to accept the donation. I guess we're here to a vote. So, all in favor, raise your right hand, say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7E, approval of resolution approving conveyance of personal property to a nonprofit organization. Chief Walton.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I be recognized?
Absolutely.
Okay. I need to disclose that I'm on the board of the Wild Ancient Heritage Foundation, so I need to be recused from this conversation, and it needs to be noted in the minutes as well.
You are acknowledged. Thank you.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Okay, so I didn't make a PowerPoint. All of y'all are familiar with the 1932 Mack fire truck that we have. The truck was purchased by the town. It was the first fire truck purchased brand new by the town once the fire department was created in 1932. It continued to serve as one of the first out engines for the fire department until the early 70s was the best my research could find. And at the time, only Morganton and Valdese were the only two fire departments around, so that truck was used to cover most of the eastern half of Burke County, and responded all over the eastern side of the county. And then when Chief Watts was here, he said he actually remembers still driving it up 40 to go to the J. Iverson Riddle Parade. So, and y'all have all rode on it, so could you imagine going up 40 in that thing?
Yeah.
Anyway, the resolution before you is to donate the truck to the Waldensian Heritage Foundation, better known as the Waldensian Heritage Museum to most people. And they would house it in their basement for the public and others to come and view as they wished. The only downside would be the truck would no longer be able to be utilized during the parades. Me personally, if we were just getting rid of the truck and it was completely leaving the town, I would be against it. But I think this is a great option to preserve it within the town and house it within the museum.
Very well. Council, I'll entertain a motion. to adopt the resolution to donate the 1932 Mack truck.
So move.
So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Now, we have representatives, I think, from the Valdese.
Yes.
We do.
Anything y'all would like to say, or will you accept this donation? What exactly do you stand on this?
We certainly appreciate the town of Valdese considering us to house the fire truck. We've, just as information, we've redone the basement flooring. It's brand new. We're having new exhibits. We'll have, we have the bakery, delivery truck, if you all haven't seen it, there already. We'll have a third vehicle there with the fire truck too. So we really appreciate y'all thinking about us and allowing us to house the vehicle. So we'll take good care of it. That's the only thing I'll tell you. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? All right. All in favor of transferring the vehicle to the Valdese Museum, please raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you. Take care of it. All right. Item 7F, approval of resolution withdrawing Massell Avenue Sidewalk Project application. Mr. Bo Weichel. Oh, Michael, I'm sorry, I'm looking over here and,
All good.
Michael, sorry about that.
No problem. Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is an item to withdraw the Massell Avenue Sidewalk Project. It's project BL0166 from the Greater Hickory MPO's Transportation Improvement Program. The Greater Hickory MPO periodically issues calls for transportation projects through its LAP program, its Locally Administered Projects Program. And this provides funding assistance to local governments for eligible infrastructure improvements. Sidewalk projects are one of those. This project was previously submitted through that LAP program and was programmed into the TIP for a curb and gutter sidewalk along Massell Avenue Southeast from Roderette Street South to Carolina Street Southeast. It was estimated that the total project cost would be $950,000, and $760,000 of that would have been federal STBGDA funding. And since it's a bike and pedestrian project through the LAP program, it requires a 20% local match. In that case, that 20% would have been $190,000. Given increasing cost pressures across multiple municipal priorities and the town's local share and long-term financial commitments to the project are cost prohibitive at this time. Withdrawal of the project would return $760,000 back to the Greater Hickory MPO's LAP discretionary pool for reallocation, and would free up the $190,000 in town funds from the commitments that were previously associated with the project. So staff would therefore recommend the approval of the resolution. Any questions?
Okay. Council will entertain a motion to adopt the resolution to withdraw the Massell Avenue Sidewalk Project.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I think one thing you said, Michael, is this gonna free up $190,000.
That is correct.
And I want the citizens to know that we are working very hard as a council to make sure our police and fire department happen. And I think this money can be used for that, and I think everybody needs to know that in
Absolutely.
Valdese.
Absolutely.
Our council, our people that are here, our people on TV, we're working very hard to make sure that the police and fire become a reality for the town of Valdese.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ogle. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7G, approval of budget amendment. Police Department personnel budget. Mr. Bo Weichel, now I've got you.
Now I'm here.
There we go.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So Chief Sharp helped set this one up a little bit already. What you got is a budget amendment in the amount of $9,942, and it's serving two purposes. One is for our officer that's leaving for the vacation payout, It covers that portion because we can't predict when folks are going to leave, so we don't include that in the normal operating budget. And two, what it does is it bumps the reserve pay from the current $17 an hour in the budget to $27 an hour, so $10 more. The $17 an hour is just not even attracting anybody, so something needs to be done about that, and I think this will help with that issue. So I'll leave it at that, if there's any questions.
I think we should note that, also in our packet, that the local hospitals are paying $40 an hour for security. So please note, we're moving to 27, but we are still below the $40 an hour that is being paid by the local hospitals.
And this $27 an hour will be carried forward with the proposed budget that's coming, we're gonna be talking about coming up in the next month or so. But this gets us through June 30, from this point to June 30 with that pay.
Okay. Thanks, Bo. All right, this time I'll entertain a motion moving the $9,942 from the general fund balance to the reserves.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7H, approval of proposed amendments to the code enforcement and animal control. Chief Sharp.
This is asking council to approve a resolution that would basically, it's one of those things we found that had not been addressed. Our animal control and code enforcement officer was currently under Public Works. And the things that he was doing was still under Public Works in our codes. And so we got with Mr. Swanson, who's went over changing some of the wording and some of the chapters, removing Department of Public Works and placing it under the Police Department. One of the things that we've done since we hired Sean as our new animal control and code enforcement officer is we've went down to the city of Hickory and tried to utilize them as like a big brother for some of his training needs. And we've also tried to adapt some of their practices into our practices. It certainly helps our attorney from time to time because he's working on two towns that are very similar in their codes and how they address some of these things. So we've done some rewording in some of those chapters to get more in line with that. We've added some wording in our nuisance violations to include things related to the Controlled Substance Act to help us with the drug situation. And we've also put some of the appeal process under the chief of police so that the appeals that take place can come through the chief's office. Sean has spent a lot of time rewording and reworking the forms that go along with our code enforcement program and getting them all in line with these changes, which our town attorney has overseen and looked at. And I think I supplied the changes and the things that took place in that in your packet.
Council will entertain a motion to approve the presented resolution authorizing the amendments to the current Valdese ordinance chapters.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So Chief Sharp, I'd like just to ask one question. On the resolution that comes at the end of all of the ordinance information, so that section 8-4002, that's just gonna be replaced as a whole, is that or maybe the attorney, Tim might answer that. That section is just gonna become this new part that's in this resolution, or this,
Can you give me a page number that you're looking at on the
I'm
agenda
sorry,
packet?
yeah, 154.
Okay, I'm close. I'm on 149.
Are you talking about 8.4002?
Section 8-4002, conditions in constituting nuisance is the title. So I guess I'm it just wasn't marked up
Yeah.
the way I was used to,
Yeah,
so that
yes.
chunk's gonna come.
So to answer your question, yes, so the preceding sentence that says section 8-4002 entitled nuisance, it says it shall be amended to read as follows, so this will basically be the new provision,
Okay,
yeah, that we're
okay,
replacing.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Good? All right. All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Still up here.
You're still up. How is it? It's a Mark Sharp night. All right, item 7I, approval of resolution for posting security notice 24-hour video surveillance in use. Chief, you got the floor.
So the town has various town-owned buildings that have audio, video surveillance present on them. The Rock School, Public Works, Recreation Center, and our town hall should. But what we want to do is basically put stickers on the doors that let the public and citizens know that those properties are under video surveillance 24 hours a day, and that surveillance is maintained and reviewed by the Valdese Police Department. This helps us make those recordings investigative records. By being an investigative record, they are protected differently than not being an investigative record, where they would be open for public view and public request. In order, if they're under our authority and become an investigative record, a court order would have to be issued to get that and review it and look at it. And so we would like to put that under our authority with that resolution so that it can be publicly displayed and we can review it, monitor it, and take care of it, so to speak.
Council will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second,
Second.
discussion.
I guess, explain that to me a little bit more, Chief, what, like, if there is a video camera here in this building,
If there's a video camera here, maybe it extends into the street and we have a public fight or something that's on that video, we would be the ones that would monitor and get that video, keep it, maintain it as an investigative record of that. Otherwise, anybody could request it and get it, obtain it, look at it, view it. It would be open to public view.
so if this is passed, it's not open to public view, is that what?
Unless a court order is obtained to get it. And then Mr. Swanson would make a decision or take it before the courts to see if that video would actually be released.
To sum it up, we're bringing this up to standards. This is something that most, me, Bo, Chief, we all assumed was in there, and then when we got to looking, it wasn't.
Yeah, I have no problem with it, I wanted to know a little bit more about it. I think it's a great thing.
It's just protects us.
Yeah.
Okay. We've had a motion, we've had a second, we've had discussion. All in favor, say aye and raise your right hand, please.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 8, Town Manager Report. Mr. Herms.
I'm pleased to announce, if you're right up the road, you'll see a bubble in the air. It's not complete yet. We still got some issues, but we're working through those. But it's went vertical. We got to see them pull it across the pool today and, got to see it go vertical, so we was all excited. The things that we're running into is first time installation stuff, and I'm confident that we'll get through these with no issues, and then next year it'll go up much, much, much smoother. So, there you go. We also have numerous events scheduled throughout the month of March. The easiest way to find those would be to look either in your reading material. There's also listed on our website. The next regular council meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 30th. Again, for the public, it's March 30th. We moved that meeting to not conflict with Easter Monday. It will be in here on 6 p.m. In this room at this time. And that's all I have at this point in time, unless the council has questions.
Thanks, Todd. Thank you. Item number 9. All right, council, this is your opportunity to make final comments.
I just want to say something about the bubble. I know that Ms. Cole's here, and I just want to say thank you to David Anderson for your due diligence of going through everything that you've been through the past year of the bubble and everybody in town. I know that everybody's looking forward to actually being able to go swim in the colder weather. And I know every one of us up here is very happy to see it go up as well, because we've all had conversations with many people. So again, I just appreciate everything that you've done to see it go up, and I look forward to seeing you all at the pool.
I'd like to say thank you to Chief Sharp for his report today, and just know we are listening, and we do appreciate the police staff, the fire staff, all of our Valdese employees. You are much appreciated for what you do each and every day.
I'm going to say one more thing. We had the pleasure of going around to all of the different facilities over the past month, and we were able to meet with several of the individuals that work for the town, and I just appreciate each and every one of you. It was a pleasure to meet you and, see what you do day to day, and it does not go unnoticed, and so we genuinely appreciate you, and especially Chief Sharp coming tonight. I know that that was not easy to put together. You were very informative, and we appreciate you coming to work every day, because I know that that's the facility that you work in today is not the facility you should be working in. So we're going to do our best. Thank you.
Just everybody share these state of departments, especially tonight's. You had me crying, man. I was like, man, the things that our public safety people are going, I'm a mush, sorry. But it was moving. It let us, definitely see things, and I hope the citizens will take time to watch those. And I'm just saying, maybe we need to reinstitute the Citizens Academy so citizens are able to see again. I went through that, and it was eye-opening to me, 10, 12, it was a while back, but it was really eye-opening to see the different departments and hear what the council hears, because you don't hear that a lot of times as a citizen. So just a thought. But
Good? Very good. Tim, you got any comments? You good?
No comments from me.
Super. All right. Well, we're at the very end here. So, council, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second.
All right. Those in favor, raise your right hand.
Aye.